Jai Guruji, Jai Sangat Ji. Today I'll be reading two series of satsangs from the book Light of Divinity. The first series of satsangs are as narrated by Kanwar Lal, Superintendent Customs and Central Excise, Delhi. Wiping away a mother's tears, saving a man's job. Year 1998 changed everything for the Lal family. Their eldest son died in an accident in the Delhi cantonment area. Mr. Kanwar Lal's wife couldn't bear the blow and fell victim to a heavy depression. Then, a friend of Kanwar's, Prem Singh, a former Indian ambassador to Singapore, happened to meet him. Prem naturally inquired about the family and was told of what had happened. Unknown to Kanwar, Prem Singh was a devotee of Guruji and he directed his friend towards Guruji. Kanwar went one morning to Guruji's place at Empire Estate. He showed the ambassador's visiting card and requested entry. He was told by a devotee at the entrance, Sudama, that this was not the time to visit Guruji. Kanwar persisted in trying to show the ambassador's visiting card to Guruji. Sudama was not impressed. He told the distressed father that many ambassadors came to Guruji's darbar, which was held only in the evening, and Kanwar should come then. Kanwar returned and spoke to his friend, who advised him to retrace his steps. In the evening, Kanwar found his friend waiting for him at the Empire State Gate, and together they went in. Guruji allowed Kanwar an audience, and the father was able to report his troubles to the Sadguru. Guruji blessed a copper tumbler that Kanwar's wife had to drink water from to get rid of her prolonged depression. The remedy, simple as it always seems, proved vastly effective. Within 15 days, the bereaved mother had turned the corner. She stopped crying, her low blood pressure normalized, and she felt okay. It was May of 2000 and the family started coming to Guruji. The family took a short break and went to Manali. When Kanwar returned to Delhi, he found that he had been reassigned jobs. He was going to be relieved from his custom duties at IGI airport and had to join duty at Custom House in New Delhi on July 15th. But when he went to Guruji's, the Sadguru suggested another break. The date was June 24th, when the master advised Kanwar and family to go for a week's holiday. Kanwar's faith in Guruji was not yet ready, so he admits today. Disregarding Guruji's advice, Kanwar attended office. During that week on June 4th, a departmental inquiry was initiated against 48 customs officers. Kanwar was one of them. Had Kanwar obeyed Guruji, he wouldn't have been named. Kanwar again brought this problem before Guruji. The omniscient master dismissed his worries and instead pointed to another area of concern, his daughter's marriage. Kanwar wasn't relieved that events showed that his worry was baseless. Of the 48 officers named, 33 were proceeded against. Kanwar and other officers whose names came below him in the departmental list were not named. Later, when prosecution proceedings were initiated against the 33 officers, Kanwar was not even touched. Guruji turns middleman for a marriage. On Guruji's advice, Kanwar had taken his first step in the old Indian marriage game, the hunt for a suitable boy. An Indian oil engineer seemed a likely candidate and, following Indian custom, came with his parents to see the girl. Before the all important visit, Guruji called up Kanwar and specially asked him to offer the young man's father white rasgullas, an Indian sweet. The candidates' parents were presented a lavish spread. Then, one by one, first Kanwar himself, then his wife, and then his son offered the boy's father the rasgullas. Each time, for reasons best known to the Sadguru, the candidate's father declined. Kanwar's family had by now known enough of Guruji's ways to suspect that something was amiss. When they went in the evening for his darshan at Empire State, Guruji made a pithy comment. Even beautiful roses have thorns. The family understood it to mean that the boy was not suitable for their girl. Moreover, the boy's family also dropped the matter. Some time later, another likely candidate was found for the girl, a promising young judicial magistrate in Delhi. He came to see the girl and liked her, phoning up Kanwar as he was returning from the visit to make his affirmation known. He also asked the girl's father to get his parents' approval. The Lals went to the boy's parents at their native home, but nothing came of the visit till one day Guruji phoned up Kanwar. Out of the blue, he asked his devotee where good chaat, which is tempting spicy Indian appetizers, could be had. Kanwar replied that to his knowledge, a corner shop near the UPSC building at Shah Jahan Road served very good quality. Guruji asked him to be there at 6:30 p.m. At 6:30 p.m., Guruji arrived with a few devotees. Chaat was bought and Guruji gave a plate to Kanwar, congratulating him on his daughter's wedding getting fixed. Then the devotees felicitated him. Kanwar was left wondering what was happening, for only he knew that there had been silence from the judicial magistrate's side, that too for nearly 2 months. Soon, however, the good news came. As usual, the Guru's words had proved prophetic. Guruji's magisterial grace for son-in-law. Kanwar's son-in-law had given his departmental exams and cleared every paper but one, which was quite irregular. His father-in-law brought the matter to before Guruji. The Sadguru remarked that the boy should have cleared the exam and that he would. Kanwar felt Guruji was hinting that someone had tried to thwart his son-in-law's professional advancement. Soon, a full bench of the High Court sat for the judicial review of the examination procedure of the candidate. Looking at his performance and his peers' comments, as noted in the annual confidential report, the bench ruled in his favor and adjudged he had passed the exam. Son has scratchless accident. Kanwar's son, Rohit, was not getting hostel accommodation in the APJ Engineering College on the Sohana Palwal Road that winds out of Gurgaon. His son's death due to an accident in the back of his mind, Kanwar was worried about sending his son 65 kilometers away to the engineering institute. But Guruji reassured him, as fate would have it, One day, the college in which his son commuted to his college hit a truck on the Sohana road. The driver lost an eye and all the other students were injured. Rohit, as Guruji would have it, had nary a scratch. When Kanwar came to Guruji's in the evening, the Sadguru simply said, I have saved your son. Guruji's benign grace continued to reign on Rohit. He was unable to enter the third year of his engineering course because he had not been able to clear a paper in the first semester of the first year. When Guruji came to know of that, he just said that Rohit would get into the third year. Then, as divine providence would have it, APJ changed its rule. Now, students were allowed to go into the third year if they had passed at least 18 of the 20 exams they had sat for during the course of their engineering studies. Rohit, thus, could go into the third year of his course. That this was Guruji's divine will in operation was proved when a year later the institute reverted to its role. Clearly, school rules had to bow to the Sadguru's will. Healing without an operation. Kanwar's mother-in-law was slated to have an operation at Sir Gangaram Hospital on her right knee, which pained her a lot. But Guruji expressly forbade the operation, going to the extent of telling Kanwar to not even take his mother-in-law near the hospital. As per the Sadguru's direction, the copper tumbler water remedy was again given. The simple yet potent cure worked wonders yet again. The knee stopped paining in a month and regained flexibility. The next series of satsangs are by R. Krishna Mahaswamy, Senior Engineer, Siemens Information Systems Limited, Gurgaon. Accident victims get new lives via his photos. It was 8 a.m. on a Saturday in December 2005, and I was reading the newspaper at my home in Delhi when the phone rang. My brother P. N. Raju was on the line from Chennai. His brother-in-law P. N. Narasimhan and two of Narasimhan's colleagues had met with a severe accident while returning home from office at about 4 a.m. in Pondicherry. Raju broke down over the line. I immediately told Raju to proceed to Pondicherry with Guruji's photo and keep Guruji's photo on or beside the three injured. I had given Raju the photo some months earlier. The Maruti car the three were traveling in had dashed against a stationary bullock cart. The car got smashed into the front. The two people in the front suffered severe head injuries and their arms were broken. But it was the person on the rear, Mr. Arun, who was worst affected. Mr. Arun's head had hit the ceiling of the car and he had suffered a huge internal injury. When Raju went to the hospital, doctors told him the three were badly injured. They also did not hold out any hope for Arun, predicting that he would not survive for more than 7 hours. Arun's internal injury was too deep. As seen in the X-ray, inside the head there was a total jam, said doctors, and declared that nothing could be done. Accordingly, they stopped giving Arun further treatment. His relatives were told to prepare themselves. However, Raju did not give up faith. He took Guruji's photo and kept it on the head of the injured. But he did so without bringing the fact of the knowledge of the relatives of the affected people, as none of them knew about Guruji. I was in touch with Raju once almost every 3 hours. Whenever he got the opportunity to be near the patients, Raju would keep Guruji's photo on them and offer his prayers to Guruji. The effects were immediate. When doctors examined the three injured, they ruled that two of them were not critical anymore, but needed to be kept in the ICU. They again examined Arun and were surprised to note that not only had he beaten the 7 hour limit set by the doctors, but was also showing signs of improvement. When doctors were asked, they could give no answer. The second day, the doctors were astonished. They examined Arun only to find considerable improvement. Doctors now said that contrary to their prognosis, Arun had survived, but added that he may not lead a normal life. For 2 weeks after the accident, Raju kept Guruji's photo on the patients. And about a month later, Arun began remembering the past and expressed his desire to get out of bed. Blessed by Guruji, his condition improved significantly, and 3 months later he joined office. All the doctors treating Arun could only be amazed. Unknown to them, Guruji had answered his devotees' prayers for those who had not even heard of him and saved their lives. Satsang's healing effects. A similar manifestation of his grace had occurred 9 months earlier as well, when I had not even had Guruji's darshan. One March evening, I was chatting with three of my guests: 52-year-old Mrs. Vijaya, 50-year-old Mrs. Rajalakshmi, who is my uncle's spouse, and my sister-in-law. Vijaya was troubled by spondylitis, while Rajalakshmi had been enduring migraines for the last 15 years. During the course of the conversation, Vijaya said she could not sleep on a bed, nor could she travel in a rickshaw, auto, car, or bus. She had lost all peace of mind due to the disease. A leading spondylitis specialist in Tamil Nadu, Dr. Mail Vahanan, had examined her and told her she would have to live with the disease. Raja Lakshmi's migraines were so bad she had been driven to try and commit suicide. She had consumed a handful of sleeping tablets on a few occasions, but each time had been unsuccessful. I do not know what triggered my thoughts, but I simply told the ladies that their problems would be over if they placed them before Guruji and prayed to him. At that time, I had only one photo of Guruji, but I continued to tell the gathering about Guruji. I told them of a few people blessed by Guruji in even more critical times in their lives. I narrated these stories of faith with full fervor for about 10 minutes. Unbelievably, at the end of these 10 minutes, both Vijaya and Rajalakshmi reported changes. Vijaya said her spondylitis pain was decreasing very fast. Raj-Lakshmi said her headache, which she had been suffering throughout the earlier part of the conversation, was lessening. She felt as if a huge weight was being taken off her head. Their new-found sense of health continued. That night, Vijaya slept on a bed for the first time in 10 years. And Rajalakshmi did not take her medicinal tablets. After witnessing these miracles with my own eyes, I immediately called Lieutenant Colonel Chatterjee and requested him to guide us to Guruji's place. A week later, we went there and took his blessings. 3 years have now passed, and the ladies who are based in Chennai offer daily prayers before Guruji's photo. They do not have any trace of their problems. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai. Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai.